scheme for formation and promotion of 10,000 FPOs. Why this is in news? Because Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar urges more farmers to join FPOs. There was recently a cluster-based business organizations meet. ठीक है, एक कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रही थी क्लस्टर बेस्ड बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस की, जहां पे नरेंद्र सिंह तोमर, मिनिस्टर फॉर एग्रीकल्चर, ही सेड दैट मोर फार्मर्स शुड ज्वाइन FPOs. ठीक है. Now what is this? Let's talk about the scheme. It was launched in February 2020. Originally it was extended from February 2020 to 2024-25. ठीक है. But now it has been extended to 27-28. ठीक है. Budgetary provisions of rupees 6,865 crores have been allocated for this scheme, the implementation of the scheme, and the nodal ministry is Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. It is a central sector scheme. ठीक है. It is a central sector scheme. What is central sector scheme? That means the funding will be provided by central government. ठीक है, completely. What is centrally sponsored scheme? Those schemes in which the share of the scheme, the burden of financial burden of the scheme is is taken both by the state and the center, or state and the UT in a specific proportion, mostly 60-40 and 90-10. ठीक है. Implementing agencies are NABARD, NDC, SIDBI, okay, etc. And the theme is one district, one product. Okay. तो ये स्कीम है क्या? ये स्कीम इस स्कीम का मतलब देखो, इंडिया में मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द फार्म इज व्हाट? मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द फार्म्स आर मार्जिनल फार्म्स. ठीक है, मार्जिनल फार्म्स इन लेस देन 1 hectare. तो what happens is the advancements that have happened in agricultural sector, they are not being properly implemented in these marginal farms. And India has around 85% of farmland holdings as what? Marginal farms. Marginal farms, okay. तो marginal farms means less than 1 hectare. अगर आपका खेत 1 हेक्टेयर से छोटा है तो you are considered a marginal farmer. And India में agriculture, like contribution of agriculture to GDP is stagnated upon around 15.6% for like 4, 5, 6, 10, around 10 years. ठीक है. But directly or indirectly, agriculture employs 55% of the workforce. ठीक है. That means agriculture is having a disproportionate burden in terms of employment, but is having a very less contribution in GDP. That is only 15.6%, and it has also stagnated. So as we talked about the marginal farms, है ना, the farms in India are marginal. But what if those marginal farms, ठीक है, are tied together and then cultivated? What is happening here is we are trying to reach economy of scale. That means earlier what was happening was this farm was sown by someone, this was by someone else, this was someone else. Now if these 4 people contribute and say that we should tie our farms, ठीक है, and then we should produce some specific good, so that will achieve an economy of scale. ठीक है, and better farm mechanization can be done. ठीक है. तो अगर पहले क्या था कि एक फार्म को हार्वेस्ट करने के लिए अपन को ट्रैक्टर चाहिए, फिर इसके लिए ट्रैक्टर चाहिए, इसके लिए ट्रैक्टर चाहिए, इसके लिए ट्रैक्टर चाहिए. Now since the farm is very large, the farm has become like 10 farmers have they have continuous land of patch and they have formed one land. ठीक है. And then what can they do? They can use a harvester machine that will not only reduce their cost of harvesting but also efficiently increase their output. ठीक है. And then they can equally divide, yeah, depending upon the proportion of their land they can divide the produce, right? So this will help in achieving the economy of scale. ठीक है. तो इसके लिए ही गवर्नमेंट ने प्रमोशन ऑफ FPOs का स्टार्टिंग किया है. FPOs मीन्स फार्मर्स प्रोड्यूसर्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. FPOs are not only engaged in producing, they can also be engaged in after harvest processing. Okay, so more than 2200 cluster. What is cluster based approach? What is cluster based approach? Cluster based approach means, for example, this is a cluster, ठीक है, this is another cluster, ठीक है, तो मतलब this cluster can have specific a lot of farmers, ठीक है, this cluster can have another set of farmers, okay, where this cluster is having an expertise in producing wheat, for example, and this cluster is having an expertise in producing rice, for example, ठीक है, तो a district can be like a cluster of 2-3 districts can be selected, and then a specified scheme, uniform scheme, whose implementation will be easy, है ना, that can be implemented in this whole cluster. Similarly, identification of the expertise and identification of the resources, identification of comparative advantage of this cluster can be utilized to frame specific schemes for this specified cluster, right? And then ठीक है, another clusters. These clusters can be then integrated, and this is called cluster based approach. ठीक है. Another one is spoke and hub and spoke model. ठीक है. We are not going to talk about that, but we are talking about some different kind of models that are used. The one is hub and spoke, one central one is hub, and other are all spokes. Okay, hub and spoke and can be present within the cluster also, but this is a cluster. A cluster has commonalities. ठीक है, a cluster has commonalities. Okay, now implementing agencies are engaging cluster based business organizations. Now what will this scheme will do? What this scheme will do is that like there's one cluster, ठीक है, there's one cluster which has expertise in rice producing rice. Okay, so implementing agencies are like CDB, है ना, NABARD, all these agencies. They will employ what? Cluster based business organizations. ठीक है, अब इस cluster के लिए एक CBBO employ कर देंगे. These CBBOs will be working at taluk level, ठीक है, at taluk district and then sub, मतलब basically taluk and then village, ठीक है. So these will be operating at taluk levels. They will be the most of the work will be done by these what? Cluster based business organizations. Cluster based business organizations will be those specific professional agencies which will have expertise in nurturing farmer produce organizations, nurturing FPOs, है ना. They will not only nurture and find FPOs, they will help the people of that specific taluk into forming FPOs. They will be the one like single window for the whole taluk in case like for promotion of FPOs. ठीक है. CBBOs will be the platform for end-to-end knowledge for all issues related to FPO promotion. ठीक है. CBBO will professional organization that will be recruited by IAS implementing agencies, which are SIDBI, NABARD, and all these, and then at block level they will be functioning to identify, to help people form, and to nurture FPOs. Okay. Provisions under the scheme. A support will be provided to each FPO for a period of financial support for a period of 5 years. ठीक है. Each FPO will be provided with financial assistance up to rupees 18 lakh for a period of 3 years, and these FPOs will nurtured professionally by CBBOs, cluster based business organizations. A credit guarantee facility. What is credit guarantee? Credit guarantee means if you want to take a loan but you don't have a guarantor, so government can provide you guarantee कि भाई इसको लोन दे दो, मैं इसका गारंटी प्रोवाइड कर रहा हूँ, इफ इट डज नॉट हैव अ कोलैटरल और एनी सच थिंग, ठीक है। तो FPOs will be able to take loans without any collaterals from government security up to ₹2 crore, ठीक है। Training and skill development modules will be developed by CBBOs, okay. At district level, a district level monitoring committee, DMC, will be there to coordinate and monitor the approaches of all the various taluks within a district and all the various FPOs within the district, ठीक है। At national level, National Project Management Agency, NMPA, will be there to coordinate the all FPOs and all these DMCs throughout the country. What is the significance? It will promote the selling of farmers' produce. Of course, when farmers are achieving a higher level of productivity, they will be able to sell their products more effectively. And FPOs are not only producer organizations, they also help in post-harvest selling also, ठीक है। So they will of course enhance the income, ठीक है। This will shorten the supply chain and accordingly market cost supply chain will also be shortened, because now the FPOs will facilitate in developing supply chains and FPOs will help in connecting them with the like the purchasers and retailers and all, ठीक है। It will also create employment, it is obvious. So I hope you understood this scheme. That was all for this scheme. If you have any questions, kindly ask me in the comments.